Welcome to Killer Content with Leslie and JT. Hey, what's going on there, you?
Hello.
Oh, I did it almost twice for you. That's how much I
That's how much
love
you've
it.
missed this, eh?
Yeah, it's been so long, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. So we're doing a
Guys,
it. Go
I was gonna
ahead.
tell him,
Good.
welcome
No, you
back,
go ahead.
welcome back to Killer Content, guys. I know it's been a while since you've seen us on here last. Leslie's
Yeah.
been pretty. Our schedules have been pretty crazy, so it's hard for us to do this. So, well, we got a chance to do it. So we're here.
Yeah,
We're back in
finally.
effect. Yeah, we're back in
Yeah.
effect, and
The
this
good
will
thing
be.
is the good thing is in the meantime, while I've been like waiting for schedules to align, I've been able to complete a good 3 of them ahead of
Yeah,
time. So so I'm
for
good
sure.
on research. I just need to script them up, but like they're all put together. Like I just need to script them up after
I hear you.
before the show, right? And try to weed off what's no longer relevant on some. Some are still ongoing. Like this one is still ongoing, to be honest with you, even though we know who's guilty. Um, first trial is done, but the second trial isn't. So this will be definitely interesting and probably worthy of a little mini update episode or
Yeah. A little filler in episode
a little
of what
filler in
happened.
episode of whenever this second trial is complete. Um,
Oh wow! I don't know if I
yeah,
noticed.
no, man.
Maybe, maybe
Actually,
not.
I spoke to Nico a few months ago while this trial was going. I think I remember briefly telling him how upset I was
Yeah.
um with this whole trial, like livid, like Carla Homolka livid.
How
Yeah.
did this fell do to you that much?
Well, once we start going through this, you'll know why.
Okay.
I know I'd so just a little brief disclaimer. Um, I know in the show in the past, I've always said that I don't like to do kids ones, but this one is does involve some children,
Oh,
and
so it's for this, not for the squeamish, I guess.
uh, there's just one part that just completely like broke me,
Was it?
like
Oh,
literally broke me. But um, but I'll try to make it as light as possible. How's that?
that sounds good. That sounds good. I think for everybody out there,
It was
it's hard to
this
sound.
was really hard to make light though. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like how am I gonna help make it light too, right? In that sense, usually I can add a joke here too, but with kids, I don't know how good of a joke it would be. So we'll have to see.
I mean, like I can make a joke about anything, really. To be honest, like
Yeah.
it's how I cope with darkness or anything negative in my life is through comedy. Like so, and sometimes I like people take it like I'm not taking things seriously when I'm really just fucking cracking a joke to kind of break the heaviness of things, right?
I hear you.
I'm really good at laughing at myself too. Trust me.
I
I
do that in
mean,
the mirror
like,
every morning.
well, yeah, well, I poke fun at you too all the fucking time. but um, but yeah, this one kind of broke me a little bit. So I'm gonna try not to do with you, but anybody with a heart is gonna feel a little broken after this. Like I said, we'll try to make it as light as possible.
All
So
right.
without further ado, here's the infamous current case that everybody is in the crime community is watching this year, besides the Murdaws and the Gilgo Beach serial killer that was just found, which is coming up soon. I will be doing that one, guys. Um
Isn't there something about Atlanta killer in Atlanta or something? Or
potentially, but potentially he might be the Gilgo Beach killer too that they just caught. So they don't know yet.
okay.
It's still all under investigation, which is why that one is on my incomplete list. But I because I was going to do that one maybe 6 months ago before we even knew that he got caught, right? Because
Mhm.
there was like a whole 5 or 6 different podcasts of this unsolved case. And my plan was actually to get Nico on because he likes the unsolved cases. right?
Yeah.
Or at least he said that to me before, and I'm not a fan of them. So I thought, oh, this would be a good one to bring Nico in on because he likes the unsolved cases. But now they caught one of, well, I'm going to say one of the guys because I think there's more, but it's definitely a whole serial killer been caught like case that keeps unfolding, and the layers and are just like peeling and peeling and peeling and peeling now. I guess that's what happens when you break a case, right?
Yeah,
Like
I can
you
imagine.
find out you find out who it is, and then you find out a shitload more information because your investigation goes
Yeah,
nonstop,
yeah.
right?
Especially too, depending on how long this case and investigation is too, right?
Yeah.
Pull
So
a lot of stuff out of the woodwork.
this case I've actually been following since 2020 when this
Hmm.
woman got caught.
Yeah.
And her trial only happened this year.
Oh wow.
Um, but her accomplice or her co-conspirator or whatever the fuck you want to call it, his trial hasn't even started yet. They were tried separately.
Hmm.
And so this is how it all started.
Okay.
So this is the story of Lori Vallow, the Doomsday cult mom. Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure I know who it is, but yeah.
Yeah. So Lori, I could have found some flattering pictures of this woman, but fuck her. I purposely looked for the worst. Um,
Yes.
Lori grew up in Southern California.
Okay.
In high school, she was pretty involved in like cheerleading. She was known to be friendly, but also pretty quiet. She stuck to the cheerleading squad, and her close friends and people who were around her said that she was funny.
Mhm.
She was outgoing in her little group, but if you didn't really know her, she kept to herself and she was quiet. When she was in 12th grade, that's when she had her first serious boyfriend. She was also raised in an extremely religious household where the Book of Mormon, yes, we're going back to Mormonism, guys. Fuck, man. It's like, I, I mean, Catholics could be, the Catholic priests are pedophiles, but the Mormons, they're just a different fucking breed of crime
People.
altogether. Um, and not all Mormons, obviously, just like not all Catholic priests, right? I mean, like
Mhm.
we can't bunch them all in the same bunch, but um, the Book of Mormon was literally like plastered on the wall. Okay. She was so religious that every morning before school started, she would attend seminary classes. She would go to like church school before going to school. Oh, wacko. Right there,
That's
wacko.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's a little much.
She planned to actually even go to Brigham Young University in Utah. You know that because
Mhm.
that's where all the Mormons live. Stay away from Utah, people.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because it was a private college run and owned by the Church of the Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, the Mormon Church, right?
Yeah.
She was planning on serving as a missionary for at least a few years after she graduated high school, but things changed. She ended up marrying husband number one. Yes, this is there are plenty of husbands to talk about here, okay?
Oh wow.
Yeah, in 1992, so fresh out of high school, she married this guy, and he was her high school sweetheart, I guess you could call, even though they only started dating the last year of high school. But like most high school romances, they divorced really quickly, right?
Yeah.
Lori gets remarried a second time, and I couldn't find too much of her first two husbands. But she did have a son from her second marriage named Colby. That marriage ended too, and Lori married husband number three in
Oh wow.
2001. So in 9 years, she had three husbands, and his name was Joseph Ryan.
Okay.
And then in 2002, they have their daughter, Tylee Ryan.
Okay.
Um, so she's like 3 years older than my son. My son was
Okay.
born in 2005.
Yeah.
So according to Colby, Lori's son from marriage number two, Joseph Ryan as a stepfather was not a good human. Although from the outside, people who knew Joseph thought he was an amazing, great dad to Tylee, according to Colby, behind closed doors, he was both sexually and physically abusive to Colby.
Okay.
And while they were married, it kind of seemed like Lori was more focused on what other people thought of her than what was going on in her home. She actually even completed a Miss Texas pageant and lost. But yeah, those are the flattering pictures I can show you of her, and I'm not fucking going there. I mean, calling a spade, she was a beautiful young woman. She was.
Okay.
Or when she was young. She also auditioned for Wheel of Fortune. I thought that would be a fun tidbit to put in there. And she won about $17,000. However, when she won the $17,000, this is red flag number one. She attributed these winnings to be directly connected to God, and when I mean by directly aligned with God, I mean that she felt that she had direct conversations with God, like we're having right now.
So
she was blessed in that way.
So she was having not just visions, but he was actually coming to see her or talking to her on the phone or something like that.
Yeah, and telling her how to live her life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a little bit messed up. Another flag.
So nobody else gets that, but she did. Whatever. In 2004, they decided to get a divorce, and that involved a really bad 12-year custody battle.
Oh, wow.
12 years putting your child through that. That's crazy. So the court had ordered specific days of the week where Joseph would have Tylee. The order also stated that he would have her for 2 weeks over the summer and that he had to live within 100 miles of his ex. So that custody agreement was easier, for both ends, for drop-offs, as opposed to states, then the child would have to travel within, between states, right?
State lines, yeah.
Yeah. So after the divorce, Lori decided to move to Arizona. So from Texas to Arizona, so she's moving a state, which means Joseph also had to move.
Wow.
Yeah. In 2006, Lori gets married to husband number 4, Charles Vallow, who actually seemed like a great
number 4?
Yeah, husband number 4. This guy's name was Charles Vallow, and he was actually a pretty decent human. Okay. Around that time is when Joseph Ryan files a motion against Lori, saying that she's denying him visitation rights and has gone as far as to hide Tylee from him for an entire month. So the month of August 2006 is when he files this motion, because she's supposed to spend those 2 entire weeks in August with her dad, and Lori didn't allow it. Okay. He files this motion asking that she be fined, jailed, and also have to pay for his legal fees. The court also orders at this time that Lori undergo a psychological evaluation, because during all this turmoil, she said that she would choose death before letting Tylee see her father.
Oh, wow. So really, she's a little bit cuckoo. Well, I think after husband number 4, she'd be a little bit cuckoo anyway.
But here's another thing that astonishes me. The psychologist let her go.
What year are we saying again? Yeah, 2006. That's so weird.
Yeah.
7. Yeah. That's
crazy. So in 2007, Joseph Ryan was actually able to see Tylee again. And he went to the designated spot to drop Tylee off after they spent their time together. As he's walking back to his car in a parking lot, he's attacked by a man with a stun gun.
Okay.
The man was sitting under a tree as he got up and started to approach Joseph. He said they both needed to talk. This man was Lori's brother, Alex Cox.
Right.
Alex Cox. Sorry, not Cox. Cox.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So Alex pulls out a stun gun out of his pocket and and tases Joseph twice. And then finally, a witness intervened and calls the cops. So this guy has been quoted as saying, like, he would do anything to protect his sister. And it's
Okay.
very clear that he absolutely would do anything he needed to, like, if he felt like his sister was in trouble.
Ready.
Right?
Like,
And we'll find out later on how, to the extent that Alex goes or went through. Okay.
okay.
Alex ends up having to serve 90 days in jail for this attack. And while he was in jail, there's a new segment. He wrote these weird letters to one of his friends asking that she send him pictures of Joseph to his friends so they could hang out with him. So, like, harm him. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a little weird.
Right? In 2018, it just gets weirder,
So,
man.
so that would be like me and getting my friends to send me pictures so that I don't feel so lonely here anymore. I can
No,
like
no,
hang
no,
out with
no.
them.
I think you're misunderstanding. He's in jail and he's asking his friends on the outside to take pictures of
Yeah, I
Joseph
get it.
so that
But
his friends, when they get on the outside, can hang out with them.
so, okay,
Beat
okay,
him.
okay,
Beat him, you know?
okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. In 2018, Joseph Ryan actually passes away from a heart attack. How convenient, right?
Wow. 2000 and what?
It
18.
gets worse. His body isn't found until a wellness check that was done a week later. And the wellness check was done because a neighbor and her dog smelled something strange coming from his house.
Neighbor and a dog.
Yeah. Lori was notified by the authorities and
Mhm.
she didn't tell anyone in his family. So she didn't call his sister, didn't call his brother, didn't call his mother, didn't call his father, didn't call anybody in his family to let him know that she knew that he was dead. Okay. And she refused to go down and claim his body
Why?
because
Well, I guess we'll find out.
she's crazy. She's just
Nuts. Yeah.
psycho. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So then Anne Cushing, she's Joseph's sister, finds out her brother's death 5 weeks after the fact. Can you imagine only finding out your brother is dead only 5 weeks after he's dead?
Yeah.
Like, and the only reason that she found out was because Lauren didn't tell anybody, and the officials had to keep searching for a next of kin until they
Mhm.
found Joseph's brother, who then told her.
So that took it. That 5 weeks, man. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And since it's spoken out,
This is
and
a lot
she,
to dig into. I gotta start writing notes on this one.
you have no idea this intricate web.
Yeah.
You're going to have to really pay attention because there's a lot of names, a lot of places, a lot of people that I'm going to throw at you that are involved in this.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like one of those fucking weird ass cult spider webs that you just like, what? And anytime you think you heard it all, you haven't.
You have it.
Like,
Eh? There's still more.
There's still more. Yeah. It just gets crazier and crazier and crazier as we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So Anne has since spoken out and she says she thinks it's weird that Lori never contacted her about Joseph's death, but also that she wanted to support her niece Tylee. So apparently, before Joseph died, although Joseph and Lori weren't on good terms, Lori was still on good terms with Anne, which makes this whole situation even worse. Like, if you're on good terms with his sister, why wouldn't you fucking tell her that he's dead?
That's fucked up. This is already a little much, man.
So Anne decides to head out to Arizona to see her niece Tylee.
Okay.
Okay. And of course, if she's going to Arizona to see her niece Tylee, she's going to have to confront Lori. Right. And so while she's there, she realizes Lori's absolutely bonkers. Okay. There's pictures of Anne and Lori together, and like they considered each other sisters, but Lori hadn't spoken to her in a while. Why would she have her house full of pictures all of a sudden when she knew Anne was coming?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was kind of like weird. But what's weirder is while she's there, she noticed that there was a very strange relationship between Tylee and Lori. Like they were kind of weird
Together?
with
Like
each
up with each
other.
other?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said Lori was obsessed with the end of the world and the end times and talked about it constantly. Everything was doomsday. Everything was doomsday. Wait for the second coming of Jesus for doomsday. Even went as far as to say she thought it would be better if she got into the car with the kids and drove off a cliff.
There we go.
Like, here's my question. You heard your sister-in-law say that she believes the end of the world is coming throughout your entire visit. And then you hear your sister-in-law saying that she's contemplating driving off a cliff with her own fucking kids before then because she's so certain it's going to fucking happen. And you don't call anybody?
That's kind of weird. That is. God, that's a red flag right there. It's just driving off a cliff. Even your own self as a person. Okay, not to let alone even with the kids, but the kids would really throw a flag for me. I mean, but I mean, if you're just gonna do it yourself, still, I mean, still an evaluation that should be done.
Yeah,
Better one, a
definitely.
proper one, or something. Yeah.
Definitely.
Fuck, man. Yeah. Well,
Um, Then she asks about Joseph's death, and Lori said in front of Tylee, the
yeah.
daughter of Joseph's daughter, and his sister, that the world is a better place without him. Yeah. She said the whole experience was dark as fuck. At the time, she said she believed Lori was a sociopath. After the visit, she cut all ties to Lori. Okay, you motherfucking idiot. You should have fucking called the cops. Okay?
Yeah. Cutting ties isn't gonna do anything. And
Or
you just like,
or or call someone to come there and evaluate this fucking woman because this is crazy. This is crazy talk.
yeah, that is. I mean, it's time to get her some fucking help or get her locked up that way. So far, and it's not even. Yeah, I
So
guess
now
it's
we're
not
gonna
only
no,
women that drive men crazy. I guess it's the other way around too.
it's all. Trust me, there's plenty of man crazy in this too.
Okay.
Um so now we're gonna go back a tiny bit
Okay.
and we're gonna talk about Lori's marriage, okay?
Yeah.
To Charles, husband number 4. So he's the good guy.
He's a good
Okay.
guy. Okay. Charles is
So
the good guy.
Charles,
That's my
yeah.
notes.
Charles Vallow was previously married to a woman named Cheryl for 12 years,
Okay.
and they had 2 sons together. Lori and Charles ended up getting married in Vegas, and they're both in the middle of custody battles at this time. So Joseph's still alive when that's why she moved to Arizona, was to be with Charles. Okay.
Okay.
And they're both in the middle of custody battles. And Cheryl says it got to the point where everything was so intertwined with each other that the judge combined their cases
Mhm.
so that they could all be seen at the same time. That's how crazy these custody battles got. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh, because it's all it kept in the family, I guess.
She
It's
also
weird.
said she caught on to Lori's strange behavior.
Okay.
And about a year into their marriage with Charles, like that's when she started noticing that Lori was a little unhinged.
Okay.
And she's like, fuck, but I got my boys there half the time, like I
Hmm.
don't feel comfortable. So she says this to the judge, and about a year into that Lori and Charles were married, Cheryl was like, this bitch is weird. So there was actually a court order to put cameras in Lori and Charles's house because of the strange going ons.
There's a court or
I
okay,
don't
that's
think
weird.
that's legal in Canada, but in the US, apparently, in some states, I looked it up, it is. Okay. Like,
Okay.
um, nothing ever came from the cameras. Like, they never found anything strange on the cameras. But just the fact that they were needed to be put there is alarming enough. in
So
my
really,
eyes.
they watching just in case anything weird other than
Weird happens, right? So she
with the
voiced
kids
the
or whatever.
strange ideals that this woman was having, like religious
Yeah.
ideals and things like that, and she wasn't comfortable. She asked the judge, "You put
Mhm.
cameras in there to watch to make sure that my kids are okay when I'm not with them, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
And the judge said, "Yeah, I'm going to court mandate it because this seems a little unhinged to me too, right?"
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Um so Charles ran a really successful investment company and he would have to go on these business trips a ton. And Cheryl said like they would still have to go for their weekend with their dad even if he wasn't there, right? And they just kind of saw Lori, but Lori wasn't really interested in them, in the kids, and was just kind of like an absentee stepmom, you know?
I mean,
Kind
I'm
of
pretty sure some people would want an up and see slaps and see stepmom and stuff
as a
like that. But yeah,
yeah, but so at the time of the custody battles, they weren't in Arizona yet, and there's a lot of moving, so it's
yeah.
gonna get a little confusing, okay?
Okay, I'm already a little confused, but I'm getting.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to clarify anything as of yet?
No, no, no. I'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when Lori was married to Joseph, they lived in Texas. So Charles and Lori were living in Texas at the time of these custody battles, and then all of a sudden, they all moved up and moved to
to
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
And Charles and Lori adopted JJ, and his name is Joshua. Okay. So,
Okay.
but they call him JJ for short.
Okay.
JJ was also autistic. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's Lori's adoptive son. JJ was Charles' sister's grandson. So this is where it gets a bit confusing. Charles, Lori's husband, has a sister, and
Oh,
her daughter or son had a baby, but they weren't the parents of that baby. So Charles's niece and nephew, they weren't equipped to take care of them. Like,
mhm.
so they gave custody to Charles's sister, the grandparents, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the grandparents, they felt like they weren't equipped to deal with the autism either. So Charles and Lori, who said,
Right.
we'll adopt him. So Charles technically is his granduncle.
Grand uncle. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's the uncle of the grandfather or
It's like if you have an
the
uncle who
grand
adopts
sister,
your kid.
grandmother. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have an
Yeah.
uncle and he adopted your kid. Is it clarifying things for you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get that.
Okay. But he's also his adopted father. So JJ only knows them two as parents
Yeah,
at this point, okay?
yeah,
And JJ had autism, and Karen and Larry, those are JJ's grandparents,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
Charles's um sister and brother-in-law, right?
yeah.
Knew that their business and their lifestyle weren't going to be able to take care of JJ in the proper way, and they wanted somebody to take care of JJ. It's their biological grandson. So this is when Charles and Lori offered to take him in 2014 and adopt JJ. The situation worked out perfectly because Tylee was super protective of JJ. So
Okay.
Lori's daughter really took
Yeah,
him in and
yeah.
really loved him and became really protective of him.
Okay.
And Charles got JJ a service dog named Bailey who slept with JJ because JJ had trouble sleeping through the night
Yeah.
and JJ loved the dog and then JJ was thriving like he and
Get
his
better.
grandparents were really happy to see him thriving. So Larry and Kay were so happy with the outcome until Lori and Charles said that they were moving to Hawaii. So now they're going to be moving to Hawaii
Okay.
and they wouldn't be able to see their grandson as often.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So Charles, Lori, Tylee, and JJ, they moved to Hawaii. And they start to run like a small side business in Hawaii, like a juice bar, a juice spa, where you get
Yeah.
like fresh organic juices and go some fucking spa. Like, one of those bullshit spas, okay? I call them bullshit spas because I've been to one and it did absolutely nothing for me.
Those retreat spas where they
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, I think I get more anxiety off the stupid trying to meditate. The fact that I can't meditate properly and I try than I fucking anything else. So it's not very relaxing for me. I find
yeah.
killer content relaxing for me. So, hey, do what
Here,
works for you.
alarm right there. That's the flag. There you go. You see, that's the first one. Okay.
They also they also joined a church together.
Okay.
Okay. And Charles had actually, when they first got married, he had converted to the latter day to becoming a Mormon. He was a Catholic before. Okay.
Yeah.
So they made a tons of friends at this church. That's when they met a woman by the name of April who got super close with Lori. And we'll talk about her a little later, but they met at this church.
Good shit.
They got acquainted with the community, but then around 2018, they decided to move back to Arizona because it was just better for Charles's business. And when they moved back to Arizona, that's when Charles notices Lori's behavior starts to change drastically.
Okay.
So she was already unhinged, but now
He's unhinged. Yeah.
so they begin to have some serious like marital issues, and Lori had apparently told Charles that she was reincarnated and had been sent by God to relay the teachings of the second comings of Christ.
Okay.
She believed that end of the world was going to happen on July 22nd, 2020.
Yeah.
And also, she's one of 144,000 people that are going to be saved. Everybody else is going to hell. So it's so funny because you look throughout history and all these cults, some of them even aren't cults, like the Mayans, for example.
Mhm.
They're not cults, they were a community and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Everybody talks about the end of the fucking world. Do you know how many times the end of the world is supposed to have been come and gone and we're all still here?
I'm waiting.
I'm still waiting. But you all claim to know when it's going to end and it hasn't yet.
You're still here.
So what's your excuse when that date comes and the end of the world didn't happen? Oops, I did it again. I made a mistake. Like
It's like 99 when we had that and when the
oh
clock
yeah,
started
oh
over.
yeah, that was
Remember?
the big one, right? Oh no, the world's gonna end because all the computers are gonna explode and blah 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 and all this millennial crap talk.
Yeah. uh,
Oh
all right,
man.
where are we?
She said she's an evil demon. Sorry, she said there was an evil demon and he was living in Charles's body. And she was telling other people that she was just waiting for her call any day that he was dead. This evil demon's name was called Ned. She called him Ned.
Ned the demon. All
So
right.
Charles was like, "This is really weird and you're insane." Lori told him that she was going to kill him and that the angels were going to come and dispose of his body and she'd get away with it. She's getting all these
She's really
new.
weird.
You're right. Oh no, it gets worse.
Oh, I believe you. It's still like fucking 10 pages. No.
So she's like changing all these Mormon religious beliefs that are no longer Mormon,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
These quote unquote religious beliefs. And so right around the time that all of this is happening, Lori leaves and she takes Tylee back to Hawaii and she visits that friend April. She tells April all of this BS too, by the way.
Okay.
She told April that she was one of the 144,000 who were going to be saved, and that's what she had come to tell her. I've come to tell you the great news. You are one of the few 144,000 people that will be saved by the Lord Savior Jesus Christ. I know because he sat down yesterday at my dinner table and told me.
Oh my gosh, I would like to have been on the psychedelic she's been taking or whatever. Fuck.
Right? Like, what the fuck is she on? I don't know if I want to be that unhinged.
Oh wow.
But meanwhile, April was under the impression that Lori was of the same faith as she was. Meaning, if she's really Mormon, then she shouldn't be talking like this,
Like
right?
that, yeah, yeah.
And then she also said that she noticed Tylee was sleeping a lot and seemed very disconnected, and she suspected that it was depressed. I suspect Lori was drugging her.
Yeah, eh? I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, what's that thing going on? Yeah, I was
I
wondering
mean,
that
like,
too.
yeah, it is well known that when you are depressed, you do tend to sleep a lot because your brain is so exhausted of being
That's good.
depressed, right?
Yeah.
So you just kind of want to sleep away because that's the only place you feel comfort is sleep, right? But I don't know. I I think April was being too kind. I think she was being drugged, but I can't confirm that, right?
Yeah. True.
So after her visit with April in Hawaii, they end up going back to Arizona. This batshit crazy woman fucks Charles over even harder. Lori takes out $35,000 from a joint account that she had with Charles while he's on
Okay.
a business trip, and then cancels his return flight home, makes her way to the airport, picks up his truck so that he has no way of getting home.
Oh wow. What a bitch.
So we had
Sorry.
to buy, right? Right? I agree. I concur. I concur. So he had to buy like $600 different, a $600 different return flight home. And then when he gets to the airport, his fucking car isn't even there. She locks him out of his house and throws out all his clothes. He ends
This
up
sounds like a
calling the
movie.
right.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, it gets bad. He ends up calling the police because all of the things that Lori was saying and how she was going to murder him,
Yeah.
how he's now locked out of his house and expresses a serious concern about her mental health. And he also expresses to the police it's caught on body cam that he was worried for these children.
Yeah.
So he's voicing all of this to the cops, okay?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I
I
mean,
don't know if she's going to flee with them, if she's going to hurt them, but I'm afraid of losing my kids one way or another, right? Basically, that's what he's saying to the cops.
yeah.
And before the officers actually go to the scene, he tried to help her by like he got a petition for her mental health
Okay.
evaluation. So he still doesn't want to divorce her yet, right?
Okay.
Instead, he wants like an evaluation for her mental health. And they asked them to serve Lori because obviously he's too fucking scared to because she threatened to kill him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So while the police are there because he's locked out of the house and like all his shit is gone, they kick down the door of the home to serve her this mental health evaluation and she's not even there. She's not at the
Okay.
house. So then the
The
next
phone
day,
call with
Lori
God.
show yeah. So the next day, Lori shows up at the police station with Tylee,
Yeah.
and she's like, "I left because I wanted to keep the kids out of the drama."
Oh,
And
okay.
then it cuts to the point where Tylee's starting to tell crazy stories too. So she's brainwashed her daughter, like her 17-year-old daughter is now brainwashed by her mom.
Okay.
Okay,
So she's got it messed up that way. Not
yeah,
so much suppressed, but also fucking tripping her out.
yeah,
So that's why. Yeah, it could be drugs.
right. So she shows up at the police station with Tylee, and she told police that she had caught Charles cheating. And that's why she locked him out and threw all the stuff out. She also claimed that Charles had stolen her purse. And the reason that she wasn't there when they kicked down the doors was because she left with the kids.
Okay.
The same day, she did have a mental health evaluation and was released again.
So she's just beating these evaluations. What the fuck? Or she's giving the
So
she's doing something to those doctors.
she's a psychopath, right? She
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
what to say to these. She's had obviously mental evaluations before.
Yeah.
So now she knows how to get away with them.
Yeah,
So
you
then,
start learning after, I guess.
yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then all of this happens and that's in January. And then
Yeah.
6 months later, this is when things start to escalate. On July 11th, 2019, the police were called to the home that Charles was renting Lori to stay in. So they are separated and he's still renting a home for her and the kids. Okay. So
Still
the
renting.
call, yeah, he rents out a home for her. Like he's
Yeah.
living in their house, but he rents out a home for her and the kids. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
The caller was Lori's brother. Okay. And um
He's
telling the
telling the police
police
off.
he's telling the police officers that he got into a fight with his brother-in-law and he says he shot him twice in self-defense. So Alex Cox shot Charles twice in self-defense. Okay. So when police get there, they get two very separate stories.
Yeah.
Alex says that Lori wasn't home when she shot Charles. when he shot Charles. But that's not the truth because according to Lori and Tylee, they were there. Lori, who wasn't there when the police showed up, she shows up with Tylee in tow and, of course, tells the officers, yes, I was home. She said this is her story. She said, Charles was picking up JJ to bring him to school, and he'd gone out to put JJ in the car, but he realized that he left his phone inside the home. So he
Yeah.
leaves JJ in the car and goes inside to get his phone. And Lori says when he came inside that she was, quote, snooping through his phone because she thinks he's cheating on her. They start arguing over the phone, and the argument is getting heated.
Yeah.
And this is when Tylee steps in and says, she tells the officers this. She heard the argument and she grabs a baseball bat from her room and heads out to protect her mom. And then he grabs the baseball bat, and that's when Alex gets involved. So Alex says that he starts arguing with Charles, and Charles hits him in the head with the baseball bat. So he goes to his room and gets his handgun.
Hmm.
And then if you really feel like you're in danger, the police were saying this on the cam, like on
Yeah.
that cam.
Yeah.
Um, why didn't you just stay in your room with your handgun and attack if he came to you? Right?
It makes sense.
That's what, because if you just shoot somebody because they're holding a baseball bat, that's not self-defense.
No.
That's manslaughter.
Yeah. But if they're coming up and start swinging or start keying down the door and shit, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Do you get what I'm saying? So he
Yeah.
goes back out and says that they start fighting again, and Charles hits him with the bat. And that's when he shoots him twice. So the officer doesn't have a ton to go on because it does look like self-defense. But when the police get there, Alex is making it a point, like he has this huge napkin on his head. Okay. And he's making a point to dab all this bleeding, apparently, on the cut of his head. But when the police go to look at the cut of his head, it's a very small, tiny cut. But he's making a dramatic thing of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And most likely you wouldn't get if you had just been struck in the head with a bat.
Right,
You'd have a big
yeah.
fucking gulp, you know?
Yeah. If you're
And
not knocked out.
actually, people were like, if Charles wanted to hit him in the head with a bat, he would have, and it would have caused a lot more damage. Because when he was younger, he was a semi-professional baseball player too.
Yeah. It
Okay.
was like T-ball. Yeah.
Right? So he shoots him, and then Lori's like, oh, JJ still got to go to school. So she leaves with Tylee and drops JJ off at school like nothing fucking happened.
That's weird, man.
Oh, it gets weirder.
Yeah, I know it does. I can bet.
When they get the statements from Lori, Alex, and Tylee at the station, then they're driving them back home because obviously, like, they had to drive them down to the station, right? The
Yeah.
two detectives were like, this was the most bizarre drive back to their house ever. This woman's husband was just killed by the brother, and she's just sitting in the back of the fucking police car, like the back of the van, talking about where Tylee's going to go to college and like shooting the shit.
There's nothing even yet.
There's footage of when she steps onto the scene and she's giggling as they're
Oh,
assessing the murder scene, essentially processing the process, like the body processing, like,
yeah.
you know, right there, right? And
That's
she's like,
yeah.
sorry, neighbors. Hee hee. Sorry, neighbors.
Oh my god.
It got weirder. That night, she threw a fucking pool party. Also, she texts Charles's sons, because he has two sons with Cheryl, remember?
Yeah.
To let them know about the father's death. First of all, she texts them. She didn't call them. She just
Well, she was having a
them.
party, you know, like a pool party. She didn't want the noise to get him.
And all she
away.
says, you're right. And all she says is their dad was dead, and she didn't say he was murdered. And she told them that Charles passed away, and she was still waiting from the ME to hear details, and would let them know when she could. She knew all the details. She was there.
Yeah.
And then she ends the text with, I still love you.
I still love you.
Meanwhile, she knows that her brother shot and killed Charles, and she didn't tell them that. Charles' ex-wife Cheryl says that she remembers one of her sons walking in to tell her that Lori had just texted him that his father was dead, and he tried to call her. She wouldn't answer the phone calls from either of them.
Wow.
The text message for hours because she's at a fucking pool party. That's why she didn't get back to them. So they have to go online and figure out how their dad was killed.
Oh, wow.
They
Hours later.
found out online how their father was killed along with everybody else. Lori didn't send up any kind of funeral for Charles either. And
Okay.
when Charles' family set up a memorial service, Lori wouldn't let JJ go.
Wow.
So
Oh,
he
poor guy.
didn't get to go to his own dad's funeral.
That's fucked.
Obviously, all of Charles' family believes his death was planned and a setup,
Yeah.
right? And they believe that he was killed for his life insurance policy because 5 months
Oh, here we
before,
go.
oh yeah, wait for this one. 5 months before Charles was killed, there
Yeah.
was an incident that occurred while he was trying to change the beneficiary on his life insurance policy
Yeah.
of $1 million. So he had a life insurance policy of $1 million. So Charles' life insurance policy was $1 million, and Lori knew that. Because he knew she was going cray cray,
Yeah.
he was changing it to his sister Kay so that should anything happen to him or
Yeah.
JJ would be taken care of. But Lori didn't know that that money was transferred to his sister.
Oh, wow.
So luckily, the $1 million did go to Kay to take care of JJ. And he wrote emails stating that Lori had changed the password on his account while he was trying to make the change of who the beneficiary was. And he was afraid that she would do something to him if she remained the beneficiary. Because if she's no longer the beneficiary, she has no reason to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Just no, it was not worth it for her. Yeah, money wise.
So we thought also by changing the beneficiary that he was kind of covering his own ass, right? That
Yeah.
hopefully nothing would happen to him because what the fuck would she get out of it?
Yeah.
She's not going to gain anything. So with September of 2019, a few months later, Lori packs up JJ and Tylee to move to Idaho so that they can be a lot closer to a well-known author and someone that we're going to talk about a lot more. And his name is Chad Daybell.
I'm
Okay.
not sure who that is. He's an author, so that's probably why.
So
Yeah.
let's find out who Chad Daywell is. Okay. Chad is well known to the he's a well-known LDS author.
Yeah.
He's actually written more than 25 books. So he's a Mormon who's written more than 25 books. According to a woman named Susan Freeman, Chad was a pretty normal guy. His faith and his ideas all aligned with the teachings of Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Excuse me. She actually worked on a couple of books with him, although most were fiction, right? He surrounded himself with people who had experiences where they died, claimed to have seen other side, and came back to tell of their like afterlife or in between life experiences.
Mhm.
And then Chad starts claiming all of a sudden that he had two experiences of his own. The first one he claims was when he was 17 years old. He was cliff jumping in California with some of his friends, and he had this weird, like, near death experience where he crossed over into another dimension.
Mhm.
And that he realized that this life we're living, is not the only one happening. Like, there's other lives all happening all around us at the same time. So kind of multi-dimensional, kind of like, I don't know, like we're in one dimension, but we're also in other dimensions living different simultaneous lives. So
Okay.
that's revelation number one for him. And his second experience, he had another experience when he was 20. This time he was in California. He was hit with a super intense wave. And while this happened, he was being like thrown around in the water and I guess drowning. And then he said, while all of this was happening, his spirit came into contact with his dead grandfather. And he said his grandfather was able to show him all these things that were going to happen to him throughout his life. Um, like in the future, he showed him his future wife, he showed him his future kids, like all these different things that were going to happen. He claims that after Gramps showed him everything, that he came out with a veil where there's like heavenly world stays open and Chad can live amongst both worlds.
This is crazy. They didn't make a TV show out of this.
Wait for it. Suzanne, the one that we were talking about earlier that wrote some of these fictional books with him, right? Says that all of a sudden around 2014, Chad started talking about new views and opinions that didn't align with the church. And ultimately, he decided to leave the Spring Book Company where he was president. And he said that he wanted to leave so that he could prepare for the call out, which is like Doomsday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
After Chad left the book company, he began to travel more and he started relaying his teaching about the end of the times. So he was trying to start a cult. Plain and simple.
Okay. That's what it sounds like. No.
Yeah. He's going to all these events, and that's actually how he became connected with Lori in the first place. So Lori's married with Charles at this time, and Chad's married someone else as well. Sorry, not Chad's. Yeah, Chad's married someone else as well. Okay. So Lori's best friend was there, and her name is Melanie Gibbs. Melanie Gibbs met Chad first at a religious conference where he talked about the veil, his visions, and all these past lives that he had lived. Melanie talked to him after the event, and she introduced Chad and Lori around 2018. But Lori knew who Chad was before that because she was pretty obsessed with all the books he had written.
Okay. Makes sense.
So she was already obsessing over. So it makes sense if you look at the timeline. Yes. It's when he went back. They went back from Hawaii to Arizona, and her views started changing. It's because she met Chad, and she was already obsessed with all his books.
Yeah, she started reading the books.
So she started reading the books, and she started like stalkerish in her head with Chad. Okay.
Yeah.
So eventually, over time, they really hit it off. And then over time, they became closer and closer. In fact, they were on a podcast together. This podcast was about preparing people for Doomsday. And their whole cult revolved around that. Okay. Preparing people for Doomsday. Okay.
All right.
They bonded over all the past life experiences that they had because Chad told Lori they had 31 past lives. And in previous lives, they'd been together. That's what Chad told Lori. Chad actually set up a portal in Lori's
sounds like a bunch of different movies together.
Right? So he sets up a portal in Lori's closet.
Okay? Oh my God.
So they could communicate with the other side together. And she believes all of this. Like they're both believe their own BS. Okay. They're both drinking their own Kool-Aid.
Oh, wow.
And they could communicate with other side together. And then Lori had a separate phone where she communicated with the other side together.
Her own little bat phone or whatever you want to call it, the red phone.
Yeah, and then it's called a burner phone so she can speak to her lover. That's exactly what it was. Okay. We call a spade, all right?
All right.
Remember, Lori's still married. And also Chad is married. Well, a lot of people remember thinking that Chad and his wife Tammy had a beautiful relationship. Okay. They didn't think about Lori, right?
Yeah.
And they'd been married for 29 years.
Okay.
She was a librarian and they had 5 kids together. Wow. She even helped him write a lot of his books too. So now we're going back to Lori packing up the kids and moving to Idaho. Okay.
Okay. So she's not somewhere.
She's going to Idaho.
Idaho now. Okay.
Where Chad lives.
Dun, dun, dun.
A few weeks before they just up and moved, Kay and Larry were able to FaceTime JJ. Kay and Larry are JJ's grandparents. Okay. I just thought you would get lost again because lots of people.
I was going to ask you who were Kay and JJ.
Yeah. So they said it was like it was a super fast call and it seemed like he was being coached. Okay. So they then up and moved to Idaho into a townhouse, and Alex, the brother, moves in to Idaho with them, like just down the street. So they all move, right? They're hanging out with each other all the time. And this is when things are going to get to really start boil over. If you haven't thought that they boiled over yet, well, shit just gets crazier and crazier, okay?
Really? Eh? Okay.
No one is really sure of the last sightings of Tylee.
Okay.
Okay. There's
Yeah, no,
like
you haven't
different
mentioned her in a bit.
right. So there's like different reports of the last sighting, but the last known picture of Tylee was taken on September 8th
Yeah.
at the Yellowstone
Oh, sorry.
National Park. September 8th at the Yellowstone National Park. That was the last picture of Tylee. And Larry and Kay kept reaching out in hopes that they could talk to JJ again and have at least it last more than 35 seconds,
Yeah, yeah.
But they were
So more than a quick one.
constantly yeah. So they were constantly ignored, and the last time anyone saw JJ was on September 17th, 2 weeks after the last sighting of Tylee, or at least that picture.
Okay.
On September 24th, Lori called JJ's school to unenroll him.
Wow.
Her reason was that she claimed she was starting to homeschool him and she was already homeschooling Tylee. There were texts sent from Tylee's phones to friends and actually Venmo transactions too that started to seem suspicious. Do you know what a Venmo transaction is?
No, I was just gonna ask you to clarify for everybody if anybody
So
does.
in Canada, we do things the easy way. If I need to send you money, I send it from my bank account to you.
Yeah, e-transfer, what do they call that?
You just e-transfer, right? One
Yeah.
from one bank to another.
Yeah.
In the US, they have a third party
Okay.
and it's called Venmo.
Okay. So
So
they
they send it to Venmo and then Venmo sends it to your bank.
it's like a PayPal sort of thing. In
Yeah.
a sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Her
So they
reason
just
was
lose
that
more money. It's so
yeah,
fucked up. Okay.
yeah. It's a capitalist country, so that's why they do it that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no wonder these guys are all fucked up that they've done it. Yeah.
It seemed like, and actually her brother Colby, so Lori's first son, right? I mentioned him in the beginning from husband number 2, right?
Okay, yeah.
Said that he was trying to get in contact with Tylee and she would text him back like, super busy, can't talk right now, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like she was writing it. You know how, like, when you text someone so often and then you know what they sound like via text, and then all of a sudden that changes? So
It's like,
that's,
yeah, it's like when
yeah.
people also are just doing the one word, like especially if it is them, because it's very rare somebody else has your phone and is texting,
Right.
right? In that
But
sense. But I mean,
but Tylee was really close to Colby too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
all of a sudden, and they're not living in the same states. Colby at this time is already married with children,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like, what the fuck's going on over here, right?
It's like when Nico messages me a whole paragraph and then he starts messaging me with just one word or two letters or two things, you know what I mean? And I'm going, okay, this is not him, I don't think. Who am I talking
Yeah.
to? Sometimes I'm wondering, like, that's when I have to ask him, is
Yeah.
he okay? Because I know he never puts the phone down.
And another weird thing to point out is that Colby, the brother, says that whenever he was trying to get in contact with Tylee and
Mhm.
asking Lori about her, Lori would say, "Oh, she's super busy." The Venmo transactions at first were weird because Lori wasn't very computer savvy.
Yeah,
Um, but she explained that it was what's her name? Tylee doing it because Lori wasn't technologically savvy. So obviously, based on how she texts, and she would often use Tylee's Venmo account to send money to Colby. So those were weird at first, but then they were explained, right? Oh, like I'm sending you Venmo through Tylee's phone because she knows how to send you money and I don't, right?
yeah.
So the Venmo transactions get explained, but the texting doesn't.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go back to Lori's family from back in Arizona. Okay.
Okay.
Lori's family back in Arizona was also going through a strange time. And I swear to you, all these things all interconnect. Okay.
Okay.
Lori's niece, Melanie Pelosi,
Yeah.
was going through a
I heard
divorce
that
at
name for some reason.
I think
Maybe
you're
it's just different
confusing
Mary.
Nancy Pelosi from politics and
Oh, okay, okay. Maybe.
yeah, yeah.
It's, I mean, I feel like I heard the last name before. I mean, it's a,
hmm
probably could be a common last name. Yeah, for that.
She was going
Yeah,
through
go
a
on.
divorce. She was going through a divorce and a custody battle again with her 4 kids and her
Mhm.
then husband Brandon Bordeaux. On October 2nd, a sniper shot at Brandon's car from a Jeep and shattered the window. Okay.
Okay,
Luckily, Brandon didn't get hurt,
okay,
but his window was completely shattered.
okay.
And he did get a look at the Jeep, and that Jeep belonged to the dead Charles Vallow, JJ's dad, who's dead.
Okay, 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 okay.
And who shot JJ's dad?
Um, Lori? No,
Alex,
Alex. Yeah.
Lori's brother.
Yes.
Okay.
I know it has something to do with Lori, though. I just didn't know which one it was again. Yes.
Yeah.
Because he said he came with a bat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while all this is going down, Melanie herself packs up her kids and moves from Arizona to Idaho.
Okay.
Not once, they weren't there, like, sorry, Idaho, and moves right next door to Lori. Literally, her niece, Lori's niece, whose ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband, just gets sniped, picks up herself and the kids and moves next door to her Aunt Lori in Idaho from Arizona. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
The entire time she was living there, she never saw the kids. Not once. Okay.
Okay.
They weren't there anymore. And she says she did think of it sometimes that it was strange, but she said that Lori always had an excuse about where the kids were. Tylee, she said, was super independent and she was always kind of like out with her friends. Remember, she was 17.
Yeah.
But like, where's your 7-year-old? He doesn't come out and play outside, like, or activities, nothing. Where's his stuff? Like
Yeah.
in the house? Where is he in the house? And she would say that JJ was at his friend's house or something, like she'd make up another excuse. And eventually she changed the story to say that the kids were staying with a friend because Kay, Charles' sister,
Okay.
um, and JJ's grandma, right,
Yeah.
was causing trouble and Lori wanted to keep the kids out of it. So that was her excuse for why her kids weren't around.
Okay.
Okay.
This is
And
okay.
then, right. And then Chad's then wife, Tammy,
Okay.
has a
That's
strange
right.
event happen earlier in that early October. So Tammy was married to Chad, the cult leader.
Okay. The
Okay.
one with the
For
books. The
29
books.
years, the
Yes.
books, right?
Yes.
Before she passed away, yes, she dies.
Okay.
She updated her Facebook status 10 days before. And she said, this is the direct Facebook status. Okay. Okay, neighbors, something really weird just happened. And I want you to know so that you can watch out. I had gotten home and parked in our front driveway. As I was getting stuff out of the back seat, a guy wearing a ski mask was suddenly standing by the back of my car with a paintball gun. He shot at me several times. Although I didn't think it was loaded, I yelled for Chad and he ran off around the back of my house. I have no idea what the motive was, and he never spoke. Even after I asked him several times what he thought he was doing, I was about to smack him with my freezer meats. Then I decided to yell for Chad instead.
The freezer meats.
So she gets attacked.
Yeah.
Okay. She gets attacked. So, like I said, 10 days after she wrote this Facebook status, Tammy Debble dies. She was found dead in her bed at age 49. She had no underlying health conditions, and the family said no to an autopsy. Chad said no to an autopsy. They just said, like, she died of natural causes.
Weird.
It gets weirder. Chad and Lori get married 2 weeks after Tammy died. It gets weirder because the police have now found out that someone ordered a pair of wedding rings using Charles Vallow Amazon account.
Yeah.
And you want to know when those wedding rings were purchased?
When?
17 days before Tammy died.
Oh, that's weird.
So that's grounds for first degree murder.
Yeah, I was gonna say something along that line. It's got to be a heavy duty one.
How does a healthy 49-year-old woman die in her sleep from natural causes?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's hard. It's just yeah, especially when there's no autopsy done. You don't know. You can't make
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
Well, on November 26th, Kay calls the police. So grandma, JJ's grandma, calls the
Yeah.
police because she still hasn't heard or seen JJ. And that strange FaceTime call, like she kept playing it over with her mind. And she's like,
Yeah.
something's up. Why haven't I heard from my grandson? Like, what's going on? So she calls the police to do a welfare check. So they go out to Lori's home to check on JJ. And in the front yard, they run into Alex, which is Lori's brother. And he tells them that JJ's with his grandparents. And the police are like, that's real weird because the grandparents are the ones that wanted to do this welfare check.
Oh,
So, yeah,
here you go.
they go in and talk to Lori, and she tells them the kids are in Arizona staying with their friend. But they go check in on said friend, and it turns out they were not there. The next day, they come back with a search warrant. But Lori Vallow and Chad like ran back to Hawaii. They ran away to Hawaii. They were seen on a security camera before they ran away to Hawaii, dropping off some items that belonged to the kids in a storage facility. Now, I found out from another article that altogether, after the children disappeared in September, she went back to that storage facility 9 times.
Nine
Okay.
times.
To drop off their stuff. Yeah. Then in Hawaii, they get this condo together, and after assuring the landlord that they would have no pets and no children, they were going to live with them. The landlord they were renting from found out that Chad had recently lost his wife, so she messaged him and she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear." And he wrote back this like very cold message. And that was like, "When I woke up, Tammy had a peaceful look on her face and she had clearly died hours before, but she's in a better place now. And I think she helped me and Lori come together."
This is fucking.
Yeah, man.
These people, yeah, wow.
Uh, she must have helped you come together before she died because you bought wedding rings 17 days before she did die.
Yeah. It must have been a real hand helping her.
Yeah. Now, on November 29th, Alex Cox gets married to this woman named Zulima in Vegas. Now, according to the minister, this was a super quick ceremony,
Yeah.
lasted about 10 minutes, and he said that they were strictly business. They just wanted to get married. It was a very cool ceremony. They wanted in and they wanted out. And Alex changed his name to his wife's name. Now, I mean, it's very progressive, I guess, but considering all that's happened,
Yeah.
that's what makes it sus. Who or anybody else that took their wife's name instead of the wife taking the man's name, no fucking big deal. But because this is all very sus, everything that he's done until now for his sister,
Yeah.
I mean, he killed her ex-husband and attempted to kill his niece's ex-husband. And his sister's other ex-husband died suspiciously of a heart attack. And now her kids have gone missing. Yeah. No,
He
not
wanted to
suspicious
just
at all.
not at all. But so he wanted to hide his name. He wanted to hide
Uh-huh.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. On December 12th, in his wife's home in Arizona, Alex dies. Weren't expecting that one to happen, eh?
No, that wasn't that long either. That's a month away. Not even
Yeah.
a
So they
week.
get married. He's living in Idaho, and then they get
Uh,
married in Vegas, and then they go back to Arizona, and it's like 12 or 10 days later, something like that, he just up and dies. So according to
wow.
Zalima, she got a call to check on Alex from Lori. I talked to him earlier and he's having a hard time breathing. And she was like, overall, it seems like he doesn't feel good and he doesn't sound good. So Zalima calls her son, who was home with Alex at this time, and she's like, can you check in on him? So her son ends up calling the police because he walks into the bathroom and he finds Alex passed out on the floor. So in an autopsy recently, it was revealed that it does say that he died of natural causes, but his death is still under investigation.
Oh well,
Yeah. Someone's trying to shut somebody up.
that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Melanie,
Well,
Lori's niece was
mhm.
married the same weekend as Alex in a Vegas ceremony too. She had met Ian Pelosi on a dating app called Mutual. Basically, it's a dating app for people with the within the LDS
Yeah,
church. To
yeah.
me, yeah, who are among their faith, who have some interest. So Ian and Melanie date for 2 weeks
Okay.
before they get married. And Ian was divorced and he had been married to a woman named Natalie. They had 2 kids. So when Natalie finds out that Ian is involved with this chaotic and possibly murderous family, she calls him and she's like, yeah, I know about Lori and Chad. They're missing kids and her brother. I know everything and I'm going to the police tomorrow. I don't want my kids around that family. Smart woman. I would have fucking said the same thing. If I
Yeah,
knew, because by this point, everything's on the news. Everybody's looking for these kids.
yeah, they still haven't found. They said, where are they?
Where are they? Right?
Yeah.
But Ian decides to go with her. So she goes to the cops but he goes with her. And eventually he ends up getting connected with the FBI and the FBI asks him to wear a wire. They're like, just try and get anything out of her. Like, bring up the kids, bring up anything. Melanie doesn't say anything. And then he fucking admits to her that he's wearing a wire.
Oh man.
She's fine with it because they're still married currently, as far as I know. Okay. But then they find this document on Ian's computer. Like somehow his ex wife obtains his computer and they find this document. So in this document, it says that Melanie was told by Alex and Lori that her husband, before the one that almost got sniped,
Yeah.
they told her that he needed to die. This document also stated that Melanie had been told by Lori and Chad that the kids, Tylee and JJ, were possessed by zombies
Oh, there's what happens to the kids.
and they
They're
needed
possessed.
to be taken care of. So this went from Exorcist to The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is gone nuts. They say this is done like a total 360. What the fuck happened? I thought they were talking to God though. Don't they have the help? Can't they get
Right,
his help?
but let me be clear here, okay?
Okay.
Zulima,
Yeah.
Alex's wife,
Yeah.
Alex, her niece, the other Melanie Gibbs, and Amy all fucking guarantee you they knew what was happening because during the trial, the text messages were out. And Melanie, her niece, was saying, we got to do what we got to do. I believe 3 of my 4 kids are also possessed by zombies. So not only was she fucking okay with whatever happened to Lori's kids, but she
Yeah.
was ready to fucking put her own kids through whatever Lori was doing to her own.
These people are fucked. That's not gonna go. I'm
The
not moving to Idaho.
right?
In
So
there or
the
something like that.
ex-husband of Melanie, the one that almost got killed by Alex through the
Yeah.
sniper in the
Yeah.
Jeep, right? He took custody of the kids right away. He still has custody because she's still under investigation for that.
Under investigation.
Yeah, for attempted murder on his life of what happened with that sniping. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
nuts.
crazy.
So I think that it was Alex who was the sniper, and I think Alex was the guy behind Tammy's car that day with the paintball gun. And in January, the FBI searched Tammy's old home where they left there with computers, cell phones, journals, and a ton of other stuff. Tammy's body was exhumed in December. Okay. Miss I died of natural causes at 49, Chad's wife. Okay.
Mhm.
And the toxicology report, it was revealed that she died of asphyxiation. She was strangled to death. Okay.
Wow.
On Tuesday, June 9th, police confirmed after digging up Chad Daybell's property that they found two sets of remains. And they confirmed that those remains were of Tylee and JJ. While Tylee's death was ruled
Wow.
homicide of unspecified means, the autopsy found that JJ was smothered to death with plastic bags around his head and duct tape over his mouth. JJ, who had autism, had also scratch marks on his neck, suggesting that he was awake and fought for his life to get the bag off his head. When Lori
Wow.
Vallow was arrested in February 2020 after a month-long trial during which the defense didn't call any witnesses, Vallow was convicted of first-degree murder in the deaths of JJ and Tylee, as well as conspiracy to commit murder in the 2019 death of Tammy Daybell, her husband Chad Daybell's ex-wife. She was also found guilty of grand theft by deception for continuing to collect Social Security benefits on her kids' behalf after they were dead. She
Well, that's gonna
sentenced,
fucking
yeah,
yeah,
she sentenced
that's
to
another one.
life.
Tax, this tax thing and all that. You're
Yeah.
fucked. You
Yeah,
ain't
she's in
going
there
nowhere.
for life. She was sentenced to life. Chad is facing conspiracy and murder charges for the kids' deaths, as well as a charge of murdering Tammy and 2 counts of insurance fraud. He has pleaded not guilty on all counts, as did Lori, and will be tried separately. So his trial is coming in 2024.
So he's is it still on this? That's what you're saying about
Yeah.
the update later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this lady, oh my god, she's taking out how many people in this one? That was 4 at least.
6.
Because the kids. Oh wow, that is messed up. So she's obviously. So this is still something that's out and around. Is this something that they're talking about
She just got sentenced in August.
this year?
Mhm.
So this is something that they're gonna probably have a TV show out on soon, probably.
They do have a
They're going-
documentary on Netflix on it already. I would suggest you guys watch it. It's a very good documentary. It's told in a way that's a lot more heartbreaking than I just did. I mean, I tried to really go quickly on the description of those deaths, especially JJ's, because the fact that that kid was still alive when he was being suffocated like that and his scratch marks and he's 7 years old, man. I broke with that one, man. I just fucking broke with that one. As
That's
I
crazy.
remember when I first heard about this case, they still hadn't found the kids. And
So
she
they
was
don't know
still
how she dies. They don't know how exactly. I mean, obviously she was
not yet, but
murdered.
they
But
do know it's a homicide. They still don't
yeah.
know how. Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, and he was alive. For them to say that, that was a little bit much.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But they were possessed by zombies. Aren't they?
So
I'm trying to make
Zaluma,
a light of
I
this
know.
thing, but it's fucked up.
So
Like really.
Zaluma, her ex-sister-in-law, the one that married Alex, in court, and this is why I say these people that were following Chad and Lori all need to be put in jail too, because they all knew what was going on. They knew, they had to know, because they were constantly being in these meetings and talking about, so like Zaluma's in court and they're like saying, what's this? She goes, that's the level of demons that were possessing Charles, who was now Ned, and that level was 3.4. What was Tylee's level 4.5. Like, these people believed their fucking Kool-Aid. There are text messages between Lori and her niece about her niece's kids also being possessed by zombies.
That's weird, eh? This whole so everybody there's a lot more than just the two. There's a lot more that know about this. There's more going on since they probably not
Now,
they're probably only putting certain amounts out because they're still investigating too, right?
well,
That's a lot of info
we'll
though.
we'll learn a lot more with Chad's, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot more will come out. Um, I think Alex was killed to shut him up. He knew too much. because he was only killed after the kids gone missing.
Yeah, that's probably where
She knew she
that line
couldn't
for it.
she knew the cops were fucking after her. They found her in Hawaii. Okay. And
Yeah,
while
they were gonna find it.
she had just finished killing and burying your kids and went off to fucking Hawaii and got married.
Sick. It is. I mean, we didn't know that in the beginning that that's where she was. Like, I mean, we knew that she was in Hawaii, but we didn't know that she had killed the kids yet. We thought, yeah, but we weren't 100% sure. That's
Yeah.
fucked up, man. Oh,
So I sent you a video of her conversation with her son about the deaths. And it's heartbreaking. So I was wondering if you can pull it up. First, pull up the pictures so that we can see the victims.
first pull up the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up the two of them, the mugshots.
All of them. There's a bunch of them in that email.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they
Yeah.
only open one at a time.
Yeah.
I'll share them right now. Yeah, this is what you said when you meant
Yep. That's Lori and that's Chad.
the chat. This guy
Yeah.
looks like he could do something weird, but I mean, yeah, she's a little bit.
You should have seen her in court. She was giggling. That's Tylee and JJ. Yeah.
Motherfucker, he's good. What a bitch. Not none of these, but this is so cute. Like, you know.
Yeah. That's Charles, her ex-husband that was shot by Alex.
Oh, okay.
And that's Tammy, Chad's ex-wife. The one, well, not ex-wife, his wife that died in
after 14 days, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh. So
Yeah.
you want the
yeah, you put out it's that YouTube video I sent you of like the conversation that her son has with her.
All right, give me a second so I can share this one right now. It's on YouTube.
Yeah. I emailed it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This I think I found the right one. You can hear that, right? Just play through the ad here. It's funny because it's a StreamYard ad. Let's see how this works. I did it this time, so it worked. Remember the other day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Playing on my side. So I got it. Don't worry. Actually, here. All right. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. You think you can hide from me? Probably because you murdered my siblings. That's probably why you're hugging me. Maybe you should understand. I didn't. I'm sorry that you feel that way. You really do anything, right? Mom, I've prayed for you in my worst moments. I prayed for my siblings who swore to me we're okay. I thought I could trust you. I thought that you were a completely different person. I don't know. I don't know a murderous mother. You can make judgments when you weren't there and you don't know what happened. What happened? Everyone's making their own judgments. Mom, you've been shoving BS on my throat for a very long time. I'm gonna talk to you in a sweet. Hey, listen to me. I'm not mad. Listen to me. Fine, listen to me. I've sat there and prayed. I can't tell you the amount of pain that I have felt from your decisions in Jesus Christ's name. It kills me to watch you sit here and tell me this is a trial. It kills me to watch you take the victim's route and say that this shouldn't have happened to you. When you are telling me that Chad Daybell came into your life and all of a sudden everything changes. And I'm talking about my spirit feels this. I prayed. I trusted you. I gave you every chance I could past my own limitations as a human being. I pushed past all of everything to try to get to you, to help my own mother. You lied to me, specifically to me, more times than I can count about this. To know that they're gone and you knew, and my phone's being texted by my little sister who's not even alive, my little brother who's the sweetest little kid ever. For what purpose? Can you tell me if this is God's will for my whole family, including my stepfather, to be dead? After everything that you try to tell me, you can tell me right now that Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, is on your side. You tell me that with all the conviction in your heart that Jesus Christ is on your side right now. Please.
I can tell you that.
Say it. Say his name. Say that he told you. And you followed him like exactness. Because I have prayed for you. I sat there and tried my best to forgive you and Chad and Alex. And I was deceived. And I was broken by my own mother. What are you doing? What are you doing?
The red code of the universe has been stabilized.
Oh, you gotta skip the ad. No,
Is that more?
that was an ad. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Was there
okay.
more to
Anyways,
it?
yeah, there was more. That's okay. I mean, like the anger, the anguish that brother feels knowing that his mother fucking
Like that.
killed his sibling. Yeah, like he's
And he's religious himself, so I mean that must have hit him hard too. Like fuck, for her to say all that stuff too and say it was God that their Jesus that told him or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
It's crazy, man.
yeah, man. It was pretty fucking fucked up. Like I don't know, man. I think it's fucked up for anybody to hear. Yeah, that your mom killed your siblings, right?
And he was still getting text messages.
Yeah,
Oh man, this sounds like a
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
That is literally like almost something you can get from a movie.
yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, these people are like a bit weird. That's
I
a
mean,
little bit.
from the spiritual portals in the fucking closet to the demons and the category of the demons and the names and the past lives. And then all of a sudden it turns to fucking zombies. Like these and then murder, actually murder innocent beings because
Yeah.
you're using all this fucking fiction to justify getting your life the way you want it. It's a bunch
That's
of
scary.
fucking yeah, man. So like this is another reason why I get kind of triggered when I see conspiracy theories on like fucking TikTok and Instagram because like I know of so many cases that these so-called conspiracy theories have fucking killed innocent people because people go wacko over them. Like there's I think 2 different sets of dads that killed their own fucking children because they thought they were reptilians, like, and that happened recently too. Like QAnon did a huge number too, like on fucking conspiracies. Like, I mean, like we're living literally in a conspiracy filled world sometimes. So, like, I mean, it's pretty conflicting for me. Like, I'm all for a fun conspiracy theory or whatever, but like the minute the things start getting unhinged like that and people start like obsessively believing,
Mhm.
then that becomes a concern to me.
Yeah, and obviously, and if it leads to violence and all that, and people are hurting, yeah, it's a lot. It's not just a little concerning; it's big time concerning because it's so easy, I mean, this is one thing when they used to have to read it through books and stuff like that, but I mean, you can get those kind of conspiracies that these guys are talking about there just right off your friggin' computer, man. You know what I mean? It is kind of scary the way, and it's just getting faster and easier for people to think and come up with these sort of fucking ideas that they think they're gonna get away with for some sick reason. But
Mm. Watch the Netflix documentary on it.
what's that
You'll
one
hear
called, everybody?
um
Do you remember? Or
hold on a sec. Lori Vallow Netflix. Hold on a sec. Let
yeah,
me tell you what it's called.
it sounds. For some reason, I feel like the perfect something or whatever. Or,
Sins of Our Mother.
oh, that's yeah. Just recently, not too long ago, came out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like watch
Yeah,
that. I mean like I haven't watched it completely because like I already knew the story, right? I knew more. Obviously, this is what happens when you listen to too many podcasts and you dive into like the
to
rabbit hole
depth.
of them, right? And then it's like,
Yeah,
but I will tell you what that Netflix series had more than we did. They had more of the recordings, right? So there's
yeah,
a lot of fucking recordings to listen to. You hear recordings between her sister yelling at her, telling her, "You didn't want to take care of the kids. I would have taken care of them. If they were in your way, you should have come and told me. I would have taken them." Like she flips out because she has 2 sisters and she had 2 brothers. And Alex was the only one that blindly fucking followed everything that Lori said, right? Because the other one, Adam Cox, he even got in trouble from his parents one day. And I heard an interview with him because he and Charles, Lori's ex husband, the one that was shot by Alex, up until before Alex shot him, Charles was telling him, "Your sister's unhinged. I don't know what to do. I'm scared
yeah.
for my life. I'm scared for the kids." And Alex would fucking, he kept his distance from his sister. Adam Cox, right? Kept his distance from his sister. And he was good friends with Charles. And he was just like, "I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to do." Right. And his parents, like when they found out that Charles died, flipped out on Adam, right? Because they thought that Adam was trying to get their sister in trouble with the church. So, like, she's gotten away with all this fucking manipulation starting at a young age, is what it felt like from her parents. And the parents' excuse for their daughter's behavior, like unhinged behavior and her unhinged beliefs, like radical beliefs, was that Lori lives well in her own little world, and if she's not harming anyone, then maybe we should just let her be, because that was the only way to control her, right? To keep her in line with the Mormon faith, right?
Yeah,
Is that
and to keep her in line,
she
probably generally.
but what happened was she ended up radicalizing herself and then completely going unhinged through the fucking roof because of reading that fucking fiction that other guy did. And I will tell you this, Chad Daybell's kids believe he was set up by Lori Vallow, which is a bunch of fucking bullshit, guys. If you're like your father and Lori literally bought rings 17 days before your mother's death. That alone is proof that
Yeah,
they were
something.
fucking in on it. Like, don't give me this bullshit. I hope this guy Chad gets what's coming to him too. Fuck him, man. So yeah, it broke my heart. Like a lot of this broke my heart.
Yeah, it is. It
I
does
mean,
suck. Luckily, you didn't get too crazy with in depth with the kids, but yeah, no, I get what happened. At least you just said
Yeah.
what. But I know there's probably going to be more unrevealed, or like you said, if we watch this Netflix here, they might go in a little in depth with that, right? Like in a sense of,
I don't
because
think I don't think they did. I think they glossed over it a little bit,
you know what? I
right?
guess it's probably for the safety of, it's just because of their name, they're underage probably, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Just regardless if they're not with us anymore or not.
I mean, like that little bit that I had to tell, like about how it was proven that they were murdered and how they died, like that was hard enough. I didn't like. I mean, there was so much more described to me, like what their bodies look like, their state of decomposure, etc. Right, and I just couldn't. I can't soil them like that anymore. You know, like I just had to tell them the
So
point
yeah,
of the point that why I did this podcast, even though it had children involved, was to bring awareness that like that conspiracy theories and cult thinkers are just as dangerous as guns.
it can. Yeah,
And
yeah, for
that's the
sure. If
point
they're
of
good
this.
at what
That's
they're doing.
that's the point of this. Brainwashing is real, okay? And it's weaponized and it can cause death to a lot of innocent people. A
Thanks.
lot of innocent people. So I mean, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, now Lori just appealed her conviction on the to the Supreme Court,
Mhm.
which is normal. Most people who are convicted go through an
Yeah.
appeal process if they don't give up, right? Because they're narcissists usually like that.
Mhm.
And under the grounds, and this made me laugh because the judge originally, when she got arrested, put her under a mental health evaluation for so she was in a mental health institute for 10 months. And then after 10
Yeah.
months, he said, okay, she's set for trial. She's okay for trial. And so they're appealing now, saying the grounds that the judge refused to keep her there longer. Right. And here's my point. I don't think that she's mentally unhinged in that sense. I think she's a psychopath, and there's a difference, right? There's a fucking difference. When you're a psychopath, yeah, it's a mental issue, but not one that you need to be in a mental institute from, one that you still need to be in jail for, because there's no cure for psychopathy. Okay. And when you're a psychopath, you've evaded psychic evaluations before, twice, before you got to kill your children. And everybody was fucking warning the cops. She's going to harm me or the kids. Nobody fucking listened to anybody. And anybody who accused her of wanting to harm them or the kids were dead. Right?
Yeah, this
So
is
if
really
she
crazy.
if she can fucking outdo a psychiatric evaluation not once but twice, there's no reason that she's doing it again and fucking to get out of this. That's it, you know?
I would hope they have a better way of evaluating it now, since they already
No,
have two
there's
sort
no
of.
more evaluation, you rotten fucking hell.
That's
There's your
it.
fucking what God, Jesus Christ didn't fucking tells you so much, didn't tell you that, killing your kids is wrong?
Yeah.
Didn't tell Chad can open up the dimensions. He can escape jail that way. He can go into the other world. Let's see it happen. Let's see.
Okay.
Come on,
It's like a little
Chad.
bit of
You
Stranger Things, a little bit of
right?
fucking. Oh
Chad,
my god!
your grandfather told you can be in both worlds. You opened up a fucking veil in her closet so you could communicate with the undead. Let's see what you can do in jail. Where is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
guess
fucking
what,
crazy.
Mr. Doomsday couple? July 22nd, 2020 is gone and past, and there's a hell of a lot more than just 144,000 people that have survived it.
Oh, for sure. Oh my god! I think they must have been watching too much Netflix. No, like all
You know
these
how the
fucking
Portuguese
shows.
say chapadas.
Yeah, holy fuck. That's
Yeah.
oh my god. Oh, I just to come up with something that for them to even think of something so stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
they probably at the point obviously thought they were gonna get away with something, but honestly, really, in society nowadays, maybe about 50, 60, 70 years ago, but
There
nowadays,
isn't one. Yeah, there isn't one person today on Lori Vallow's side in her
yeah,
family. They've all turned their back on her, right?
the evidence is probably was still outstanding, anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean,
As much as they
they
would
all
say
they
true
all
on and
be,
give a shit.
I mean, I believe they were all drinking her Kool-Aid and actually believed what she was saying, right?
Yeah. No, you have to do
So
something to kind of make them believe it. I can't.
yeah.
It's hard to get people to believe what you want them to believe. Not
I don't know,
everybody's that
man. When
fucking
you're that
stupid.
radicalized, when you're that
Well, it
fucking
depends. Yeah,
radicalized, it's just, I mean, like,
depends where you live and where
I
you
mean,
where what kind of following and backgrounds and stuff like that you were brought up with, like beliefs. But to
yeah, I
actually
don't know, man. Anybody
be
can be
brainwashed that much,
radicalized. Some of the most intelligent people have joined cults. Like, it's just, you don't know. It's something about vulnerability. I think that's what these cult leaders do. They latch onto your fucking vulnerability, right?
something
And
there. Yeah.
because nobody joins cults with bad intentions. Not one human. They all join cults believing that they're doing something good, and then it turns. Then
Yeah.
the bullshit happens. Once you're comfortable, once you're set in your fucking beliefs, then those beliefs start changing, because these cult leaders, they're all narcissistic. They all want to change your fucking mind. They all want to fucking make you believe in them because they're addicted to the fucking power.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it isn't and that's the thing. It's a power trip afterwards, right? So
Yeah.
you're trying to outdo you. You said, "Oh, I can change the rules. I'm the one that they believe in anyway." So
Yeah. Oh, well, God came down and told me July 22nd, 2020 is no longer Doomsday. He's now chosen to forgive us for a while and give us a second chance. Now it'll be 2028. And that's how you keep them on going. Keep them on going. You keep the lies going. You keep it all going that way. It's ridiculous, man. Like, it's just
it
fucking
is.
ridiculous. It's
Oh,
all
that, that
bullshit, man.
that was a lot to take in. That is a lot. That was a lot to take in. You were right. I remember you mentioning this a while back, especially about the show on Netflix. I think I remember you telling me too to
Yeah.
watch it. But yeah, I can remember this is the one, right? It's been, like I said, it's been a while since we got to put out a killer content together, right? So,
Yeah. I thought
but
this one was a good one to tell because of,
it's a lot of
that.
studying that one for sure.
Yeah, it's been I don't know, I've known about it for 2 years now, but like actual writing it down, this one I started writing back in July. Yeah.
Mhm.
I started investigating it like in depth in July.
Yeah, eh?
I had already heard a few, like when it first happened, I had already like known about it, right? Because it
Yeah,
was like, where are the fucking kids? What happened to the fucking kids? I
yeah.
knew right away something happened to them because the mother was fucking in Hawaii.
You're
If
like, those
my
are
kid
red
goes
flags.
missing, I'm the first person to fucking call the cops.
Yeah,
Your
for
kid
sure.
goes missing and you're having a fucking party in Hawaii, and then the cops are telling me on the news in front of everybody that you're lying about their whereabouts, that nobody has seen them since that day, and the grandparents are the ones who fucking are calling them in for a wellness check.
Mm. Give me a break.
Yeah, that's when I
Yeah.
knew the mom. There was something. I knew those kids weren't going to be found alive.
We got some update. I do hope we get some updates for it, and
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I'll give you guys like a mini episode in between like killer content episodes when the Chad Daybells are up. But depending how long the trial takes, because this one took about a month. But that's
oh,
only because, and it went that quickly, only because she had no, like the defense had no
she didn't have a
witnesses.
leg. Yeah, I was gonna say she didn't have a leg to stand on.
She didn't even testify for herself.
Oh, eh?
No.
Fucking
And when the
s-
judge asked, how do you plead guilty or not guilty, she refused to say anything. So the judge had to forcibly plead a not guilty on her behalf.
right?
Yeah. It's the same thing with you remember those Idaho cases that I was telling you about
Yeah,
that guy who went into that college dorm house and killed the 4 kids,
yeah,
the 4 college students, right? That's
yeah,
still
yeah.
going on, but he hasn't pled guilty or not guilty, and he forced the judge to plead on his behalf.
So what happens there if the judge thinks there's enough
No,
evidence?
the judge pleads on your behalf and says not guilty, right? And that means that you're going to have to go through trial to prove your guilt, because you're
Oh,
in it
okay.
by law. You're proven innocent until you're
Until proven
guilty,
you're
right?
innocent until proven guilty. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. No,
Mm.
I that was a crazy one. There was a lot to take in, and especially with the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was. I didn't. I thought it might have been a little more than that, but that was more than enough. That was a good place to
Yeah.
draw the line. So
Mm.
that was okay.
That's a hard
That was-
one. It's a
yeah.
hard one taken. But yeah, it was a
But
good one.
it was a good one and a long one coming because we haven't been doing this for in a little while, and everybody gets to see more killer content for sure. So don't worry, everybody. But yeah, that was a great one, Leslie. I
Thank
guess
y'all.
we can wrap her up and give you some sound effect here, but I'll let you guys know that thanks again for tuning in.
Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Guys, also, if like I've said this before, if you have any cases that you guys want us to do, leave it in the comments. We'll read it. We'll let you know. And we'll I'm happy to look into cases that you're all interested in, besides the ones that I've already done.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, we'll talk about this outside about Ashton Kutcher, that case that we did with Ashton Kutcher. Have
Oh,
you heard
yeah,
about
yeah.
that? Now
No.
everybody's, yeah, it's crazy. It's so
Well,
stupid with conspiracy theories that are going on right now because of that whole I don't know if you guys remember me doing that case of that the Hollywood serial killer, and that he killed one of Ashton Kutcher's girlfriends, and now there's a conspiracy going around again. How conspiracy theories hurt people, right? Like, I'm not very fond of what Ashton Kutcher did and Mila Kunis in defending Danny Masterson, right?
yeah,
But the fact that they're now conspiracy saying that he was involved in her death and he knew more and lied to the cops is absolutely fucking ridiculous, especially since we have proof on who actually killed her and why he actually killed her. Like, come on, it's just ridiculous. Anybody who okay, I'm not happy about what they did, but don't go fucking throwing bullshit. I mean, these people have kids too. I mean, that's just a line you don't fucking cross. You're not the cops. The cops, didn't find him guilty for a fucking reason, and they found proof, actual DNA evidence of who killed her. So, come on.
Very
This
much.
is
They're just trying
bullshit.
to.
Yeah.
They're trying to
It's
pull
like
fucking
now
feathers.
everything wrong in the world is Ashton Kutcher, right? Whatever, people.
Listen.
Whatever. And the fucking show. Sorry about guys. I just had that little tiny rant to do.
But yes, thank you
Have a
guys
good night,
again,
guys.
and
Thank you again for
and
tuning
wait,
in, and let us know what other cases you guys want to do. Got a shitload more. I mean, but I can always put one of mine back on the back burner and do yours.
yeah. Don't forget, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Late Night Chat Collectors Community. This Late Night Chat Network and the Collectors Community. But yeah, make sure to like all of everything and check it out and keep
Subscribe.
posting.
If you don't like
And
killer
keep
content,
posting.
tell your friends.
Yeah, keep you posted. It'll keep you updated with everything. So just make sure to like and subscribe, yes, guys. And we'll get back with more killer content sooner than later this time, right, Lily?
That's right.
All
Have a good
right.
one, guys. Cheers. Bye.